This is AODG with Kolpeace at the Ferret Artist Residency. Take one. What's going on, y'all? My name is Daniel Green. I'm an artist and creative director based in Charleston, South Carolina. Today, I'm meeting with one of my favorite artists, a trailblazer also from the state of South Carolina. He's known for immersing us in Black culture with all of his works from galleries and exhibitions across the world. I came out here to meet my boy Kolpeace here in Walterboro, South Carolina. Welcome, Kolpeace.
Appreciate the kind words too, man.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I've always been a fan of your work. A lot of us, we probably get exposed to your work from like different mediums. You work in a lot of different kinds of ways. Tell me about so when I first got introduced to your art, it was during your performance art. You were using fire as a medium. How did you go about diving into the different mediums that you work with today?
So being from South Carolina and being from Columbia, mediums I can't buy was what I could afford. So the performance art you saw usually used to be markers, because art materials is as artists know, art materials are mad expensive. So that came about when I translated over to using spray paint and those different mediums and just regular acrylic paint. Materials were not as important to me as they are now, because back in the day I just picked up whatever I can get from the store and just paint with that. And so when people say, I know you for performance art, this, that, and the third, man, I used to use that art to survive and just to get notability or notoriety, or just to see people, that art or this style of art exists, right? To give people a different perspective of acceptance of what I guess art can be or what it can be, whatever. But in my version of it, I didn't know I was using it as a survival technique. I didn't know those things. I thought I was just making, some work. But literally, I use it as a form of survival. Man, I used to paint in the darkest of nightclubs to the brightest of sunny days. I used to be in a cut in South Carolina, in Charleston, in Georgia and stuff. I used to drive these places. I would sleep in my car just so I can paint the next day because I couldn't get up for a hotel room. But I was I really wanted to just do art. I could not see myself doing anything else. Though I did other odd jobs that I do not want to talk about. They're not embarrassing. They just more it was done. It was a waste of time. And I got tired of wasting my time. And so I decided to literally take myself seriously. And about 20, 22, 23, something around that time, to actually focus and dive deeper into my practice. So,
Or I see you have an extensive art education career. How do you feel going to school for art affected your growth as an artist?
I think that oh man, I love the South, man. But what I needed, I didn't have all here. I had the foundation of being a person, have good hospitality, of course, enjoy people, loving people, all those things I had, right? But I didn't have all the resources that I truly needed to feel like a thriving artist that could just, have something to fall back on, and so what I did was I decided to take a leap of faith on myself, but also do something for my family, because lineage is a lot. It means a lot to me nowadays versus before, where I thought doing art was for showmanship and then people would see it and then it would be a thing. But truly, I don't give a damn anymore. As far as not caring about showmanship or being seen, my main objective now is to create a context or index of information that I can give to other people, because I thought going to school was to help just myself. But now I realize that all those resources that people don't have to go in debt for, I can give to people now. It's easier now because I can just say word of mouth. You don't have to go all the way to a university to know that there are ways to work between a group of 10 people where 10 people can literally have $100, and that $100 y'all can create an endowment together and create a foundation for another artist to rise up, and you recycle that money to create capital for another thing that the artist may do. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like those things that another artist will have to go all the way out of state just to learn, or all that type of stuff. Like it's different things, right? So when I got the education, when I got the masters, when I got that shit don't mean nothing, by the way. And all of that, when I got all that stuff, I realized that it was important to literally not just hold on to it, but give it away. Like just give it away, because selfishly, I was a selfish artist in the beginning of my career because I wasn't speaking about my work. I wasn't looking at my work like that. I was just making versus thinking and then creating a piece of art. So that's why, I take my time, even though I paint fucking fast. I know I know that I can control, you know what I'm saying? Like I paint fast and shit, that's crazy to say, but in the moment, like I only took that as a idea from how we dance, how we enjoy each other. Like I took that was my way of having fun. And so when people would see me out, they don't know that was a lot of unpaid work. Like that was a lot of just taking risks. That was me just saying, hey, if somebody like myself was looking at that would encourage me to want to do more art. You know what I'm saying? Because the South really is not appreciative of fine art, but also art from Black American people. And so to be a person, or just one body of person that can at least light a fire, man, somebody else can pick up the flame and just kind of keep going with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm saying, yes, I'm saying.
What do you think about the, I noticed that with your mission as an artist, it's more based on intention than it is based on like flavor. Tell me about your creative process. Like what inspires you to create?
What inspired me to create? A lot of things. I mean, I don't have to wake up in a day and go work for somebody. I can wake up outside and just walk outside and take 20 minutes of my day and just relax, not feel pressured to be somewhere. That inspired me. A lot of things I can go to is my family, of course, but I think the cultural like homemade style of the South inspires me even more. For instance, like I know that for me, I have originality, I have style, and I have feeling, and I create from like a sense of storytelling, a sense of people talking, a sense of being somewhere in a physical being, like spending time with people, getting to know things. Like there's a lot of different things I didn't know, and so spending that time with people inspired me to create, I want to say larger bodies of work. And so I don't know, I just guess I find inspiration from music. I find inspiration from failure. I find inspiration from grief. I find inspiration from life. I find inspiration from I find inspiration from destruction and creation. And I find inspiration from these different palettes of mediums, because there's mediums I still don't know about. And to get to explore those things is a beauty in my career. You know what I'm saying? So that also inspires me, but also this moment, is inspiring, because who knows what this will take or where this will go. So
facts. Yeah, I love the title of your current exhibition. Butter Pecan. It's just like, it's one of those, if you know, you know. Like, tell me about how you went about naming that show.
Man, it was where do I begin? So it's a title supposed to trigger remembrance for people, right? Because we forgot, man. We've lost our ways, and it's like we can't depend on our own ideas anymore, our own creativity anymore. And so we feel like the South doesn't have that, or sometimes us people at the South sometimes maybe, and I mean this may be a personal like scene, but I just feel like we deserve originality. We deserve like that style, because we don't have to, we don't have to copy any artists. We don't have to do that. Like you got to think about the style of everything. And so Butter Pecan itself, like, it's its own style because, you know, it originated in the South. So it's like, with black men, you know, black people creating that fermentation of vanilla from not being allowed to have ice cream, to not be in Jim Crow South, black wasn't allowed to have ice cream, that butter pecan, that vanilla ice cream, excuse me, before we became Butter Pecan, because we invented Butter Pecan. And so the idea of that is to do the research, do the knowledge, which is why I applaud myself taking that extra step, you know, thinking about it, and not making the whole exhibition so personable, creating a bunch of family pictures and things, objective things. But I did take it personal at the same time, you know. But I took it personal as remembering our history, you know, thinking about historical landmarks, thinking about historical spaces and historical stories that the books won't talk about, don't tell about, you know. And I think it's important to highlight those things because we're in a cultural war right now. So there's a formation of things, and I don't normally always name names in my speech because I feel like broadly, you know, I can't take on the entire spectrum of Southern history as a personal entity, but I can touch personal stories and create illustrations from them. And so Butter Pecan itself is literally a statement of originality. It's a being of it. And so when black people weren't allowed to have vanilla ice cream, they literally created fermentation from vanilla plant and then used an extract to create vanilla ice cream, and then brought on pecans as a buttered, sugar, caramelized, whatever, put it in the ice cream, mix everything together. And now we enjoy it to this day. When I was a kid, I did not appreciate it because I didn't have it. But in my thought, right, just how people are thought and judgment, I was one of those people when I was younger. I was like, yo, why are you eating ice cream with bugs in it? You know, because the idea, to me, it looked like a struggle. I like treat. And I was like, I don't want that stuff. And then I saw the person I look up to the most, which is my mother. Like, she had it. I was like, my mother eating this stuff? And so one day I was in the house and I didn't have anything else, nothing sweet. And I was like, I really wanted something sweet. And in the refrigerator, it was Butter Pecan ice cream. And I ate hers. I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, this is really good. Yeah. And I could taste the part that I've always missed, and I felt like I missed in my work. I felt like I missed in everything I was drawing in that point in time. And that was that part of heritage, history, and culture. Like, all that stuff, just like, I felt I could taste it. And how can you taste culture? Like, it's crazy, right? But I tasted all in it, and I realized that I needed to dive deeper into why I love this. This is my favorite ice cream to this day. I'm not saying it because it's the show title, but it is my favorite ice cream. Not because of the history, but because I love the taste. It has such dignity, and it's simple, and so much dignity in it. So, in doing that, I shared ice cream with my mom at this ice cream parlor when I was a kid, and she would have Butter Pecan all the time, and I would have all those weird, unidentified flavors that made no sense, like with the cookies and the rainbows and all the little stuff like that, like all this funky stuff. But my mom would have the simple ice cream, and she would laugh, and she would just enjoy telling the stories. And I'm like, man, I want to be, you know how you want to be somebody, like you see an adult, you be like, man, I want to be like that, I want to look like that, whatever. Yeah. And I realized that when I took myself seriously, I realized that now, man, I'm that adult now. Now I am that embodiment of it, and I want people, when they see the work and the exhibition, to embody what they visually saw themselves pertaining to be. They don't have to copy or be somebody else. They don't have to look at other art, other practices and be that. They can be original and come from their own personal being. And so that's what this exhibition is about.
Word up. So I noticed that, like, throughout your work, you have themes of the Black culture, Black experience in the South. But I understand you did quite a few, like, residencies and exhibitions in Baltimore, Maryland, right? So what was it like being a Southern artist in that type of environment?
Baltimore is something else. Baltimore is another South. I love Baltimore. Baltimore is another home for me. outside of South Carolina. Baltimore is definitely a place I can call home. That place being the city of the South is like really fun because I want to say people write off Baltimore really quick because of shows, because of other perspectives, but they don't even go there. Baltimore is so beautiful and black. It's like, it's not crazy, but it's like really, really interesting. Every place has their problems. We know this. People know this. It's no secret. South Carolina has their problems. It's only black and white here. So with that being said, Baltimore has so much rich history and culture that I have found myself being more proud of where I'm from than anything. And so when they ask me, there I was a guy. He was asking me like, "Yo, man, you from Baltimore?" I was like, "Nah, man. I'm an honorary citizen of Baltimore. Like They said I was from over west. About that later. But anyway, it's over east, over west. But anyway, they gave me that title. But it was cool. But I was like, I'm from South Carolina. Every interview, every paper I write, every artist talk I have, I say I'm from South Carolina. Why? Because I love where I'm from. I appreciate that. But I didn't find that appreciation until I did grad school in Baltimore. And so when I did all of those things, like being an artist there, being an artist from the South there, I really have my own identity. Like I don't have to move throughout this thing, trying to find them. Cause I go to New York and I feel the same. I'm good. Like I ain't got to really struggle and find and try and change my whole, thing, whatever. Like I ain't got to do none of that. Talk how I want to talk, move how I want to move, and still be representing South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Every time I say it, people laugh. They feel proud because they feel this warmth. I be like, I'm from South Carolina. Every time I say it, they feel good because I don't step in where I wasn't born. I don't be like, I'm from South Carolina, but now Baltimore is like everything to me. Like I don't do that because I love coming back home. I will run home faster than I'm up there. Yeah, got all of these different opportunities and things. It's a very cultural art. For artists, if you want to be out there and survive, it's that. You can do art out there. But you want to be home, man, it's good to come back to where you're from. And so this is literally why I even brought the show here first. Because originally the show was supposed to be at the Avery. But the work wasn't ready. The support wasn't ready. Like all it wasn't ready. Even to the show now, the work is ready, but the support's not ready. So I realized that I wanted to show this show here first, even though it's like a smaller, maybe it's like 25% of the show here, you know what I'm saying? So 30, 40 maybe. But anyway, I wanted to show here first. So I thought it's important to do that. So even being in Baltimore as an artist from the South, I always pride myself in always representing South Carolina, but also being in Baltimore and being a prolific artist in Baltimore has been very interesting to me because it shows the range that you can do if you really like focus.
Mm-hmm. Word up. Yeah, I think it's very important to carry a piece of where you're from everywhere that we go. And I noticed that when you were it's like almost you kind of touched on what you call it? Code switching. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been talking about code switching recently. It's something that within the Black community that we develop or a skill that we picked up over time. Mm-hmm. But where I'm at in life now, I feel like it's great for us to be our authentic self everywhere we are. You don't have to turn our accent off if we just don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I definitely appreciate you keeping it authentic with everything that you do.
Yeah, I just think that because, everybody got their dialect. Baltimore has their dialect. Their sounds are different than my sounds, but when I talk, it's even the kids of Baltimore, like they have their own like style of talking. But when they hear me talk, they try and repeat it how I sing, and they try and do everything because I still have my like. Somebody told me like, yo, you go to Baltimore, you gonna lose that. I said, man, no, I ain't. And I've been up there so long, man. They do not know what boiled peanuts is. That's not, you see what I'm saying? Like it's surprising to you, to me, but that's a thing. Like they look at that, it's weird. It's odd to them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you see how much the culture? See what I'm saying? Like just that point of people don't realize that cultural shift or even like just exposure to things. Like it changes something so simple, but it's real. Like it's special to me and you, but to them it's like it's odd. But that could be vice versa. We go up there, I've learned something. I'm like, yo, that's odd, but it's so special to them. Like even like our frozen ice, they just call it ice. They call it like ice. Yeah, they call it something so it's something different for them. Yeah. But for us, it's like a little bit different. Like if you think about,
Grandpas.
yeah, see what I'm saying? If you think about the Great Migration, you know, you think about how people from the South went upper North or upper parts of the South, whatever. They went from here all the way up to, you know, North Carolina, of course, and then they went up to Virginia, and they went to Baltimore, or whatever, Maryland, and they went to New York. They went to all those different places, but that's what we deserve and need in these spaces. And so this is how exposure happened, because our I guess originality, like it's a breakage there. Like we got to find that back, get that back.
No doubt. I learned something new. I did not know, like, so your name, Kolpeace, stands for Kids Only Love Peace.
Yeah.
How did you land on that?
being a troublemaker, you know, being one of those people that was around all the different sorts of people, from people who, you know, maybe enjoy the streets. Because all my art came from the streets, and so the idea of that is not being a street artist, but being an artist in the streets was very like, you get in mixed crowds. Not to be too vulgar, but you know, people who do different things in different spaces, they have some things like unbalanced. Some things is trouble. You might find trouble. You might find these things, but you almost might find, you know, religion. You might find how whatever you believe in. You find those things. People who have different backgrounds, different identities. Anyway, my thing was, I knew I wanted a name or something that stood for my personal upbringing, which is the idea of being open and accepting, like being in the background in a, I guess, a religious environment of non-denominational meant something to me, because, you know, I can go to different churches and I'm fine. I don't, you know, or I go to different people's back, I'm fine. I don't care if you smoke, if you drink, whatever. I drink, but I don't smoke, but I enjoy those things in life. But anyway, it's to stand for a sense of being a rebellious person, but being actually who you are. So in a sense, like you want to be like different things. You want to be all those things, but you got to find a way about going about it, because I know I'm a rebel. I know I do not like to do the norm. I don't listen to nobody's rules. I don't care about none of that shit. So in the end of the day, Kolpeace is just a representation of me, you, whoever, in a sense of doing what you would like to do and what you want to do, to express that. Non-judgmental, not having to be a certain class of thing. Like, you don't have to be this high, you don't have to be this low, you ain't got to be cool, you ain't got to be none of that. You can be a complete nerd for all I care, and as long as you're like actually doing right by the world, doing what you can, you good. People have problems, make mistakes. I made plenty. I'm not perfect, nobody is. But at the end of the day, it's just literally a form of imperfection, love and care for people, for real.
I feel like as artists, a lot of us don't value rest like we should. You know, yeah, I definitely appreciate how you take time out to just exist.
Man, listen, it's I had to learn that, bro. It's the idea of when you pass by a mirror, you find comfortability in seeing yourself in it. You know, you find comfortability in seeing how great you are, and then you find the not so great parts, but you call them both out. You know, you don't need other people doing that shit for you. Yeah. You need to just kind of readjust and kind of just be in that space. But you should appreciate who you are, and then you grow from there. You know, like our generation, we grew up off that YOLO shit, so it's like that's good to live by. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah. Seriously.
Absolutely. That's dope. So, were you always an artist even as a young child?
I didn't know it was. I knew I had another way of thinking. I would hustle off of it. I remember I was in school. I told you I was drawing for making quarters and making little dollars and stuff off of animation drawings and just doing that type stuff. And then I think my first exposure, like kind of to it, was just seeing, I can't remember the name, I'm so sorry, but seeing how art or how a thing like that would just move, or something that was visually seen, it made people happy. And so I enjoyed seeing people that look like me, especially black people, like like singers and stuff like James Brown to the Nina Simone's to the, not just those people, but like, like the gospel artists, like those, how they made people feel. Like it's just like soulful people just make people feel. And I knew as a kid, I didn't know until I knew now that I wanted to make, give people that opportunity to feel that way. So no, I wasn't always an artist. People in my family, I think my great grandfather, he may have drew a little bit, but nobody wasn't an artist like this. And so to this level, I enjoy being an artist like fully now, versus like didn't know it as a young kid. 'Cause like as a kid, I'm just drawn to, I don't know, I wasn't even thinking about it because I would take tests. What I would do is when I took the test, I would definitely almost fail them. I would draw stick figures, and I would have like this whole another world, and I'm drawing stick figures just moving throughout this battle and stuff like that. But I create like the superhero, and he jumping from ways away, and I'm drawing lines like crazy, but I'm enjoying myself because I'm in a state of meditation. So when I draw like this, if I'm talking to you, I'm in a state of meditation. I ain't gotta like sit on cross my legs, do all of that, because my legs go numb. Like all that stuff is like, come on, bro. Like that stuff is like, you can meditate in many different ways, but I'm not doing all of that. So, and generally speaking, like knowing that I've been an artist for this long, it's been cool. But as a kid, I ain't know none of that. So,
where I noticed that, especially when it comes to the performance art, I can see it more so like, live in front of me, of course, but I definitely see that you tap into a flow state when you're in your creative process. Do you feel like your creations and your artistic journey, do you think that affects or mirrors your mental state and how you develop mentally, or your own, like how does your meditative practice with art affect you in life?
That's a great question. For a personal approach, I would say that even if I do the performance art, a lot of people don't know the process, which I probably should explain more as I'm working. I do weeks of like workouts. I kind of get my body ready, and I get my mental ready. And so, appreciate it, man. So what I do is like now I stopped drinking alcohol. I don't let everything into like my space. If I do break that, I have to start over again. So I pray a lot more, and I wake up earlier. So I wake up at like, but if I used to wake up at like 9, 10, I wake up at like 7, 8, maybe 6. I do a little workout. I have to eat clean foods, like all those things, because it's such a rush. It's really quick, right? But it takes a lot of mental practice. If I do the music like I'm doing now, I listen to the same songs like 50, 60 times, a lot, over and over again. Not because I love the song, right? But because I can hear and know when to switch my body, know when I need to move in a different way, because I know exactly when it's about to happen.
Right.
So you have, when you're painting at this, you got to be able to manipulate time too, right? Because these people are looking at you like a movie, right? Yeah. So you have to understand that you are serving somebody's visual psyche. How would you want to represent that? So I think about those things, right? I think about the piece that I would paint. I only paint black people. I was asked to paint somebody that was white before, but I painted them black. And so they didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? So so in a sense, like I would do these things. One, because of representation, but two, I'm a black artist. I'm an artist that is black, but I'm also a black artist. So it's like, I want to do these things, but I enjoyed it so much. And another thing is that I use compressed recycled wood, which is like canvas that I cut wood and I sand it. But I sand it for a couple hours, because I want it to be really, really nice when I'm representing it, because this is a piece of art that's being created in front of people. And I would prime it myself. I'll do everything myself, right? And so what I would do is I would also train when I'm using source, school, fire, whatever. I don't treat the fire as a commodity, like a showmanship thing. Back in the day, I may have done that. That's why it didn't have the effect it has now. when now I teach it, I treat it as an artistic tool that helps improve the art piece as well, right? So there's different ways to appreciate certain things. So I learned to appreciate the performance art in a more systematic way, because when people ask me paint, it would be, can you do that fire shit? Can you do that fire thing real quick? You know what I'm saying? They appreciate the process of building up to it.
Right.
And so I tap into 3 to 4 different stages, where I start off in a stage of introduction. You know, so I introduce maybe a soulful, something slow song, right? So this allows me to do what I'm doing now, is create the line work, so I can know what I'm about to do.
Right.
And then when I move on to a state of approach, or a state of movement, whatever that messes with the mind, with the body, but I mess with the body, which is I move something in the state of like how people play drums. And so I create that same movement when I'm painting in the second state. And the third state, this is when I use the fire and all these different elements. All right, this is a state of release. You're letting all of that, whatever's pent up, you're letting it go. You're not worried about your level. You're not worried about your stress. Like, everything is gone. So all of this is like a state of like just creating a sense of being in space. Like, people don't know this, right? Because I never get to talk about, like, back when I was in Charleston, living here fully, I never got to talk about my art. You didn't see me at a lot of artist talks. You didn't see me these things because one, they didn't ask, but two, I didn't get the chance to, because I was always painting live. You never like get the chance to see me talk about it. And that was my mistake, because I personally didn't put it out there that I could talk about it. I could kind of put that out there. I always saw myself as just a form of survival in this space. But I didn't know that the art that I was making was a form of resistance in the space too. Charleston itself, South Carolina, Charleston, is very, very white at some points. Being an artist and showing a show in a white institution in a space like this, breaking barriers, not just for myself, but for others to be in a space. There's not a lot of black artists at that museum. There's not a lot of black women artists, men at that nature, people who are making art, but making beautiful pieces of art. There's a lot of great artists in the city, man. There's a lot of great artists, but there's also artists that don't know that they are great. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a sense of them having to learn how to take themselves. That's all it is taking yourself seriously at the end of the day. And so in the process of painting live, back in 2000 and say 19, maybe before that, like 19, something like that, whatever, I walked by the Gibbs one time, and I had to paint for like the shoe thing. And I remember painting inside live, and I went outside and I was like, yo, I want to be in here one day. I remember that. And I put one of the live paintings on the ground. I took a picture. It was like a shoe. I took a picture or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I want to put my art in here one day. I didn't realize to the day I really don't care. I don't care, you know, but I knew that I do care that our people get to see it. So this is why I did all the things to push so hard. Like, I've used a lot of my own saved up money to push for this exhibition to exist the way it exists now, because I really wanted us to be able to have something to appreciate art, but also to be appreciated. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Without being so overly objectified, without being so commodified. Like, we're not a commodity. Black people existed as a commodity because we were used as labor. A lot of art exists in the South as labor art. A lot of artists that are black Americans would paint these labor artist pieces because of idea of exposure to information. But if we shift that idea of information and we shift what that is, in the exhibition, you will even see that the art exists as a restful space. All of the art has a sense of this. It has indigo. As we know, indigo. I can go down the road and I'll talk about that in the next question. But in the sense of the materials, right? You see all the art pieces in the sense of restful. They're not doing anything labor. They're not picking up anything or folding anything, wearing dumbass dresses and hats. Not saying it's dumb fashion, but not wearing these big things to material or like overdo whatever that may be as being black. You know what I'm saying? That's not just the only way you got to celebrate our heritage. We have so much more cool shit that we do, in the sense of like, we are the most I guess copied or replicated, but most hated because of our sense of cool, our sense of just being in a space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like in that space, how do you create that cool? Because us growing up in the 90s and 2000s, I feel like as an artist, I don't see much representation in that unless it's like blaxploitation when it comes to big ass earrings, gold grills, and shit like that. Like I see that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's beautiful as an art piece, but I see so much of it where there's a sense of subtlety that we also do have, a sense of rest that we should have in the work. And so in my perspective, I create work that has a sense of rest, but chillness, but also rebellion as well, because I'm fighting against loads of history that held back progression in a way, right? And so it's like we spend all our time trying to catch up. So I spend the time trying to catch up when really we don't really have to catch up. We can move forward. We can move into a sense of showmanship without losing our history. That's it, retaining it. Right. So how do you do that? You reimagine art in a sense. That's a part of it. You reimagine art.
Yeah. Yeah. I was told that I have a modern take on the perspectives our ancestors had. And especially when it comes to the art world, I noticed that with everything that we've had to go through to break into certain spaces, to be seen, we had like a big boom of black art, like a big black art movement within like maybe the last like 15 or so years that I noticed. And within that, some of the themes that I see are super direct, and I can appreciate, like you were saying, like the hoop earrings, or showing the scenes of what our people did back in the day. But I also can appreciate like a modern voice, contemporary, I should say, because we aren't a monolith, like you said. The Black experience is a full spectrum of things. And so I can really appreciate how you can give us the bottle trees in one piece, sweet grass, or, even some butter pecan ice cream. I think it's very important for us within the Black community to be able to show the full spectrum of who we are, And do you have any other, like, it looks like you have like different facets of Black culture within your work. Tell me a little bit about that.
So in the work now that I'm making today, and touching on the culture in a sense. Give me 1 second. In a sense, but you can see that I'm using indigo in the work. Indigo has always and will always be a place, a sense of place of history, of course, but also a place of celebration. I think indigo has been changed over time when using in dyes and all those things. But in my research, I found that before indigo was used as a sense of celebration, but also during the time of before the Revolutionary War, indigo itself was a commodity as far as like commercialized thing, kind of like cotton was. Indigo was also a slave cash crop as well. And so when the British and the English, they would come over here and then request indigo from the South. They used to do it in India before, but they couldn't get it in a speed amount or a large amount of it. And so the South was literally a beacon for thousands and thousands of pounds, hundreds and thousands of pounds. Man, we almost got over, almost before the Revolutionary War ended, we got to like 1 million, pounds of just indigo stuff, and sending it to them. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we got all this stuff from that point. But this was done during research. I'm like, wow, really? Right? But imagine how many people just died. People labor, stuff happened, children, over just something that would seem so pure and so beautiful, right? But so much blood was shed over a thing, a fabric, and a dye, and all those different things. And so anyway, I'm using that context as a form of rebellion, resisting against that idea of, or I ask myself the idea, like, why Why now? Why using this blue? Why using this color now in a form of resistance? Is because we are in a cultural battle. I have lost so many people I care about and love, just from sickness, health, and all that. But because I didn't have the knowledge to take care of them or the income to take care of the people that I love the most, I feel like they're gone. So how do I, as an artist and as a person, as a man, what do I do? What do I find? And the substance of not just indigo, but the color blue, the sense of that navy, that dark blue, I feel a sense of pride again. Like I feel a sense of care, a sense of protection now. Because now I'm using when I put grass, and when you see the work, you'll see these grass thorns. Those are metaphor for community. I lean on people that I care about the most to push myself to the next level, right? I use the blues and the work as a sense of my Southern heritage, Southern pride in that sense, because with the Confederacy and that flag and all that type stuff, before the Palmetto flag was even made, the Confederacy flag flew higher than anything, right? But that was, what is that? What is that? Just so rebellious against black, like that just disturbed black peace. Like that was, come on, you're putting that up to disrupt that. You talk about Southern pride, but I'm not getting into all of that. But anyway, the idea, well, actually I am. So the idea of it, shows the disruption of black life and how we live to this day. You see it, it makes you disgusting. It's disgusting. It hurts your stomach. It's disgusting. Don't turn away from it. Like, right. Look at it as, I mean, look at it as it's some bullshit, because at the Gibbs, there's like Leo Twig's show, there's my show, there's his show, but he talks about the crossover between him being in the South and going on one side of the way. He lived through a part of that Jim Crow era. Like he lived through some of most of the, he lived through racism, he lived through that stuff. But also we've experienced racism in a sense of, but our racism is not a level to it, but our racism is disguised as different things and it's words now, as different career things. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like they changed it, but it still exists here. Racism is not dead. Please, racism is not over. No matter what time it is, it's not over. It's just a new look to it. They changed it, but it will always exist. No matter what, like it always exists in the sense of it, right? Mm-hmm. And so in the work, you will see me use from that Palmetto flag that originally stood for the patriots that fought at Battle of Sutherland's Island, right? But they don't really speak on the enslaved Caribbean people who fought at that battle. They don't represent them in that piece. They just got the tree and they got the little whatever that it's not even a crescent piece. That's actually a part of the soldiers' piece, whatever they're on. Yeah. And so in a sense that represents the patriots, but where are the black Caribbean enslaved people who helped build that fort and fought against the British? Like, where's their representation in that? So that's it takes on a sense of pride, a sense of showmanship, but also in the beginning, like I talked to you about, a sense of survival, right? A sense of defiance. Like you talk about, you see these things in the pieces now, and you look at them and you see parts of yourself in them, because they're not selfish or they're not selfish art. It's not just my family, right? There are parts of it that represents my family, but it's not all just part of my life. It's your life. It's other people's lives. And so when you look at the work now, you think about looking at the indigo, looking at the fire, looking at all of that. All that's in the work now, because now I even use iron and pine straw to even burn some of the things into the work. I'm using these things because these are things that I grew up with, but this is labor that was induced on people of life. Even the slave tags. One of them, that's in two of the pieces. There's a couple of even the slave tags. I mean, look at how you using a person as an identified job. Like all of those things, I'm taking that back. On one of them I wrote, I was like, fuck this white shit. Like I wrote that on there as well because it's in there, right? But if you see it, like that's nasty. Come on, in the history, that's terrible, right? Mm-hmm. In the sense of that, yes, I also did the on the minstrels, like the minstrel when they used to do blackface and shit like that. Yeah. They talk about. It talks about a minstrel like Old Zip Coon when they used to do that. That's turkey in the straw. That's what it's called now. But that little ice cream, their little ice cream song, that little all of that. I did that in the exhibition as well. I literally wrote about that and I did a piece on that, right? But that's in accord with me talking about Butter Pecan ice cream. All of that circle backs around because that part of whiteness, that part of whiteness in itself, not all all white people are not bad, right? But some of that part of whiteness, that's terrible. They just wanted to pick on something because they was haters. How can you be a hater for so long? Like, how can you be a hater for all these years? You can still be a hater. That's such a long time to just hate on something. White people are the longest haters in the sense of life. I feel like white people are the longest haters because you go to so much length to hate so bad. But literally, you giving us fuel to the fire, bro. We're gonna pick back at you because you decided to do these things, and you cannot get mad at us for the things that we make today, or the relationships, or the stories we tell. Oh, here go this black stuff. They talking about black this, black this, black this. Yes, we're gonna say it's black this, black that because you identified us as a thing, as a Negro, as this, as a nigga, as this, that, all that stuff like that because you put a title to a thing. Okay, so we got something for your ass. This is black art. This is black American. This is black that. Yeah, we're going to put black in front of it now. And now when black people see it, they feel so much pride because people got to realize that the color black holds all colors. That's right. Yeah, so I'm saying, like, you got to think about how much beautiful that is now. And so when you see the exhibition, you get that sense of beauty and pride, a sense of joy, a sense of love and all those things, even stemming from a dark past, a dark history. Something that was so dark, and just, you know, in these spaces that won't be talked about in history books and people avoid telling these kids about, right? If you're gonna talk about these other subjects, include that history, include it. Yes, it's embarrassing because the ancestors that you, and I say you as in the whiteness, that you introduced that into the world. You cannot omit that. You cannot take away from that. It exists there. And so when you see the show, you find that sense of pride again. You find that sense of joy again. You find that sense of originality and style again. Okay, we do not have to copy artists. We do not have to, but we need to come together and be with each other. We need to eat together. When's the last time the artists from South Carolina just sat down and had a meal together without cameras, without phones, with all this shit, and just sat and just talked for a second, just talked about life, because we are all going through so much shit to the point we don't even talk to each other anymore. We're not above the program. If we band together and survive, we could literally create an entire community. We could build entire things in this countryside. Like, it could be, everybody wants a simple house. We can build 20 houses. They could be all spread out. I know everybody want to be on top of each other. We can all spread it out, you know, but we own a part of South Carolina and just all creative people, and then have a school and have hospital. We have all these things with people in one community and space. Right. They burn that shit down. They want to tear that apart. All we want to do is, all we want to do is live safe, but that's what the sense of it. Like, you see the work, it's safety. It creates, from indigo creates safety from everything, from the whiteness. They feel like that vanilla was too pure for black people. They feel like it was too pure, but in reality, our culture is too, just stop listening to our music. It's too pure. Stop wearing our style. Stop trying to dress. Stop doing that. You know, some I would say some white American people, they get it today. Some people get it. Some from Mexican to Hispanic people, some Asian people, some people get it. Yeah. You understand? And then some people, you know. So, yeah. So, yeah.
So, when it comes to the show, black people, white people, purple people, what do you want people to feel as they navigate through your work at this show?
I want them to feel a sense of peace, man. A sense of peace, bro. It's hard, man. Like, it's so hard today that. And this is, what was this, 26?
Yeah.
2026. 2020, what was that? 23, 24, one of them years. I lost my grandmother. And when I lost her, I found that out being in another part of the state around Juneteenth. And I was coming back here to paint again. I still came back and painted. I just didn't tell anybody. I remember sitting in my car and I was just crying, man. I was crying so bad. And I said, man, I just want to, like, chill out. Everybody talk about getting rest and relaxing and stuff like that. I just want people to have a sense of peace, bro. There's no reason why one, you can come to the exhibition and not, of course, think, but you can actually just relax. Like, you can go to the exhibition, right? You can go to mine, you go upstairs to Leo Twigs, you go to other spaces in that Gibbs. Cool. You can leave and go get you some food, relax, chill out. Like, you don't have to just go just to think you gonna support me. I don't need that shit. You don't have to. People don't have to go if they don't want to. I didn't make it just to be seen or known. I don't give a damn about that.
Right.
People should know that. People don't know, but I really don't care. I keep pushing it out there because, man, I'm pushing for something that I've felt, that I feel, and I've had the opportunity to get, and I'm trying to get that shit back to you as a person, as the people.
Yeah.
People look past that shit. They say, oh, it's another art thing you're doing. What happens after this if I don't come back for a few years? I don't be that. What happens after that? People don't think about that shit. Like, this is for us as not just black bodies, not just black people, us as a people in the South, people who live here, people who have heritage here, people who celebrate all lives that lives here, right? A sense of rest. I want people to take back a sense of peace when they go there.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Word up. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, man.
Word. I think that when it comes to art, a lot of us artists, we're taught that the work should speak for itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely in this era, I'm finding that when you provide context, people receive depth.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you for sharing your story and your mythology. So people can understand on a deeper level when they see the work and when they create their own.
Yeah. Yeah. Say that 2 times, man. We definitely need our own out here, man. I don't know, man. I don't know how long you've been here, man, but I miss back in the day when people used to have a thing. No matter what time we got off of work, no matter what it was, we just all show up.
Yeah.
We were never too busy. We didn't care about all that stuff, man. We just show up for each other.
And so you don't use references too much.
No, I like to use from the mind. It's just important to me. This is why I like to go to like art museums, but not just museums, but the galleries, but also fairs and stuff like this. But also, I enjoy traveling, man. So it just feels good to kind of get a different perspective on life. Because I find inspiration, especially in different backgrounds. Because in the East, Asia and stuff like that, they believe in very powerful in tradition, and also honor and stuff like that. And then I want to say more of the South American, they're very big on family, but also relationship, which is far as sharing. And then, in Americas, we're very big on sensation and experience. And so creating from those different bodies of life is funny. So when I told you, I look at objective things and I'll be like, take a picture and then I'll use it and then I'll skip from the actual thing and then I'll draw, I don't know, just something else. And then I'll just, draw it real quick and then I'll finish it later, but I just add it. And if I don't like it, I'll just either paint over a draw or whatever. But figuring out this indigo piece was very challenging because I had to figure out how long. So I leave the indigo out in the sun. So it's out there now. And then I'll bring it inside and then I'll paint because I use the natural heat. I would warm hot water, but it's so hot to the point where it's too hot for the medium. And so I just do warmness from outside and I take it from the day and I put in the solvent and then I do everything and I just paint from there.
Hey, yo, you take the indigo plant, create your own dye, use that, or at this point you're using it like you would ink when you're doing art.
Yeah, so that part of it, I'm still learning.
Okay.
Taking the actual and doing the whole process, I'm still learning because I don't know everything, but I do know that you have to do a VAC system. I'm gonna do a residency on that, but I'm actually take the time to learn to make indigo from scratch because sometimes I use synthetic dyes, and so that takes a little bit of care, but doesn't take as much.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do the version you're talking about, that take a little bit longer, which is fine. But I'm learning to do that. Just like I'm doing a glass making thing, so I can make my own blue bottles for a piece of art because I want to do some authenticity versus buying from the store using that as a reference. I'd rather just use do it myself and then build from there, create little ones and big ones and stuff like that for sure.
That's fire. That's fire. I like that a lot.
Appreciate it, man.
I think I first saw you use indigo, I guess, in larger bodies of work in your last show. You look just like your mama.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I really appreciate about your shows is how that you create like a family environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tell me about like I noticed that you're very passionate about creating the unity that a lot of us remember from our youth when it comes to the Black community. Mm-hmm. Something we don't see as much today. Mm-hmm. Tell me about how you create that kind of energy at your shows.
If it's an exhibition like that, when I was at the Avery, I died to that pine straw. I thought about what I hated doing when I was a young kid, but what I can remember, right? But what I also loved. And so pine straw was one of those things. My grandma used to always be like, hey, go rake that out the yard, get it cleaned up, whatever, then burn it, whatever, do whatever you gotta do. But I remember the smell. I remember how I used to stab my ass in the hand. I remember all those feelings of those things. I remember how I used to do that. But now I use it in art. I enjoy doing it. I took the pine straw and I spent 3 to 4 days in the woods and I cooked the pine straw over a built fireplace with my mentor, and I created it, the system where I dyed the pine straw really black. So that's what you saw at the Avery. And so at the Avery, you saw this pine straw that was made out of the spade symbol. Again, so
right.
It's so small, but I turned it into a bigger piece of art, right? My family does not have a family album sitting under the table. They didn't have all those things. They only go by memory. So I did the same thing when making art. So what I did was I took pictures of people in my family. Some of them, no longer here, but I took pictures of people. So that way, if I create anything from the art or the piece, I can put them and immortalize them in space, just like I did with the spade. So anyway, the pine straw was a remembrance of a thing, just like Butter Pecan. And so in the exhibition, you'll see there is a very cool installation involving pine straw, but in our remembrance of labor and those such a thing. When I feel it, I was like, it should hurt, but I'm like, you look at it, you just think about the South. Like immediately you get the smell, you get the sense of all those different things. Like I wanted to create something you get a smell and a sense of like remembrance of being in the South. Because people up north, they thought it was hay. And I was, yes, bro. Yes, bro. Yes, bro. Yeah, man. So I just...
Yo, that's wild.
Yeah, no, it's a real thing. It's like, yo, you got this hay everywhere else. Pine straw. Go ahead, do what you got to do, So with the material, I had to learn that, not all places are accepting of like natural. So all that pine straw, either from my grandmother's yard, pressed, bought from this place, but I got all that from South Carolina. And I just been taking it to different places and setting it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So every time I make it, I'm literally carrying home with me when I make it. You know what I'm saying? So there's all these different metaphors and symbolism. But anyway, I created the spade symbol because the spade, we invented spades as a card game. But before then, we made bit whist, we did those things. Before then, the spade symbol or itself was also a bloody shovel by definition, right? But the term or different vernaculars for a spade is a spade was also a derogatory racist term, which was used by old, white authors in a sense when the men came from either World War I believe, they came back, and black men were a spade is a spade, which is like when they came over like in Tulsa and all those different things, like spaces like that, they call a spade is a spade, which means black man. Be a black man, black family, be whatever they is. Kind of how old Italians was really racist towards black people in a sense. So Anyway, identification is in a sense. So the spade is literally an embodiment of blackness in a sense, right? But we're taking back whatever that may be in a sense. So I created these spades as showing a sense of sacrifice. And so in my work, you'll see different animals in my work now, which represents a sense of ancestral beings. And so, like the stories, like the Tulsa fires, like the like stories in the South, like the Orangeburg massacre, like the desegregation of schools with Millicent Brown and Minerva, like those different embodiments of work or exist in a piece. And so when I created a pawn show, those are just weaving through different stories. You find different ways to tell stories throughout a sense. And so when I burn those things, when I burn the paper, when I burn all those different things, that exists in the work and it carries on throughout. Even once I'm done on this earth physically, it carries on throughout whatever it may exist as in the body of work. And so when people see that form, it's like, oh, I think about the card game. It's more than that, because the boys even wrote about the idea of identity as far as the blackness when Return of a Soldier or something of a soldier, when he identifies a spade as a spade, he calls it out. He calls it out in his work. And so using that now in the context of my story, I remember my introduction to spades was me playing with my mother, but not knowing how to play. So she wasn't my mother that day. She was like not my mother. She was like not, but she was like really my friend. She just, she cussed and fussed at me because I didn't know how to do it.
You didn't know how to play spades,
right?
Right.
But I'm good now. But anyway, in the sense of it, that card game exists as a sense of togetherness, a sense of family, right? A sense of life, a sense of death. Like there's this card game was just, we carried this on so much, just like Butter Pecan ice cream, just like the music, just like the stuff that we've done before, right? All these things, just like the blue bottles, all these things. We are carrying this stuff on with us throughout the life. And so this holds so much significance, just like the palmetto rose. All these things is carried with us through labor, through sacrifice, through all of these different things we did. But people died just for these smaller objects to still exist, to still be here today, and sense of touching on a point of heritage. Like, bro, it's a big thing. Like, people can't physically be here, so why not create these larger pieces and bodies of work that show that sense of care, sense of remembrance in the work, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you see that piece in the middle, bro, I want you to like actually think about your own personal existence, right? And how you transform in a space. Like, who did you pull from? Who do you talk about? Who your thing? Because my inspirations come from, I want to say from Archibald Motley's work. I love his work, but I love his sense of how he creates the black aesthetic, right? Because my work is now aesthetically pleasing because I did the research in my work, right? Versus when I was just live painting, I'm just painting faces. I'm painting portraits all the time. And now I can paint objective things because I took the time to actually research and study.
Yeah.
I think about Ona Lewis. I think about her work. I think about her travels to French quarters and going these things with these different artists like Bearden, like these different amazing artists, like in a sense, right? But I think about what's my girl name? Faith Ringgold. I think about her work, right? I think about the beauty of how she tells stories through quilting, also through colors. Like all of this stuff is just, it's a built body of process. It's a built work. And so if you think about it, you just look at these different people who shout out their versions of the story of Black experience through art, through work, but they took the time to build through that. And so I think it's our, because I'm nobody right now. Like in the sense of the arts and the world, I'm nobody. I'm just an artist that's just doing stuff, right? But in a sense of as I get older in the space, it'll transform into different things like that. And so I think in a sense we take pride in what we do and what we're creating, right? I don't need white people or any other facet of whiteness to tell me, or acceptance of my work to tell me that it's, because I don't bend down to get on one knee for white collectors or white people who want my work. I don't do that. I put Black people ahead of in this space because I know that they will treat my work with so much pride and respect. I just say, oh, white collectors are bad, because I collect white people collecting my work, but that's not my first immediate audience. Like, I don't be like, oh, I gotta paint this good so that person can, but I don't do that. Yeah. I don't paint this person very way like, oh, I hope somebody get this. Nah. I just make beautiful, aesthetically pleasing work that's for people that deserve it and that actually wants the work. You know what I'm saying?
Respect. Absolutely. Yeah. We learned a lot about your story and your view of the world. And I think as artists, it's important for us to give context so that people can understand the depth of our work and they can appreciate why we do the things that we do. So just briefly, what do you want people to feel when they come to Butter Pecan?
Yeah, when they come to Butter Pecan, I want people to feel a sense of peace, and a sense of togetherness, and just a sense of giving a damn. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Yeah, that's it.
Word up. Hey,
man,
I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, man, and I don't just love what you do. I like what you do, and I think that I think what really inspires me is when I saw a video of you with some young people and seeing them happy, man. I think that we need more of that. And you should definitely take somebody under your wing, man. I think that because if we don't start attaching ourselves to other people that we know that we can expose them to something, I just think that, we'll lose a couple stuff. We feel like we have to, we lose our pride a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we all should take somebody under our wing and just kind of like build them up. Because, like I said, we're in a cultural battle, brother.
Yeah.
So, we're not a commodity. We're not. We are the best representation of ourselves, regardless of all the therapy we think we got to do and go through. I think we did a damn good job over time, and I think we should just appreciate what we have now and learn to live life instead of trying to be something that we think we have to.
Right.
Yeah, but all love, man. I support what you're doing, man. I want you to. I know old niggas say this a lot. I probably shouldn't say this on camera, but they always say, keep doing what you're doing. But seriously, man, keep doing this shit, because it's like it's powerful, but it's also meaningful if you make it. So.
Much love, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely got to pass it on. Next generation, even they can be the generation before us that just needed the inspiration. Man, you know what I'm saying?
Man, forget them kids. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love the kids, man. For sure, man.
Word. You know. Much love, brother. What's good, y'all? Y'all are here with Artist Daniel Green. I just chopped up my boy Kolpeace. We had such a transformative time, so I appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Until next time, y'all be easy. Peace.